Folks, what if I was to tell you that the SAVE Act is probably dead? And it's dead because of chicken shits like Senator Thom Tillis, who went on camera and called his own party's signature bill theater. And what he didn't say is that he's one of the four Republicans who voted to kill the bill himself. He also didn't mention that 59% of the country wants the bill and that Trump promised it as his number one priority. Folks, the only reason this bill is dead is because of four members of the Republican Party. And by the end of this video, you're going to know exactly who the hell they are and why they chose to kill it. Please like the video, though, share it, leave a comment down below, and I'd love for you to subscribe. Okay? Folks, I ran for Congress, okay? The president, the vice president endorsed me. I've been in the room with the speaker, party leadership, all right? And I know what they're saying when they say that there's a fight that isn't winnable and they refuse to spend any resources on it. And I know exactly what's happening here. And that's what I want to walk you through today. Here's what the Save America Act actually does, okay? It requires proof of citizenship to register to vote, puts limits on mail-in ballots. That's it. That's the whole fight. And the House has already passed it twice. The most recent vote was 218 to 213, almost a straight party line. Okay, 59% of the country wants it. And the number includes plenty of Democrats. Pew actually found that 83% of Americans support photo ID to vote in the general elections. This isn't a fringe position. This is as close to a national consensus as we have right now. So if it's this popular and the president has called it his number one priority for over a year, why is it dead? Well, here's why. Because it needs 60 votes in the Senate to have a filibuster. Okay? Republicans hold 53 seats. It means leadership needs 7 Democrats to cross over. And that's never happened. Not once. On March 26th, the first real test came. And there was a cloture vote. And it failed 53 to 47. In June, Republicans tried again. They attached it to the reconciliation package. And that failed too, 48 to 50. But here's who I want you to remember. Both times, the same 4 Republicans crossed over and joined Democrats to kill it. Those Republicans were Thom Tillis of North Carolina, Lisa Murkowski of Alaska, Susan Collins of Maine, and Mitch McConnell, good old Kentucky. Not one Democrat, folks, 4 Republicans. Now, here is where it gets good, because 3 days after that June vote, Tillis sat down with his hometown newspaper and had something to say about his own party's bill. Yeah, read that. Tillis isn't just a commentator. He's not some outside analyst grading the fight. He's one of the 4 votes that killed it. But 3 days later, he's on camera calling the whole thing theater, like he just walked in off the street and found a body. That's not honesty, folks. That's an alibi. Now, I'm not saying Tillis is lying about the vote, because the math is the math. I'm saying he helped build that math himself, and now he wants credit for reporting on it like he's neutral. And Tillis isn't even the only one. Okay, like I said, there are 4. But you have to look at the party leader in the Senate. That's John Thune. Okay, he's the single most powerful Republican in the building. And back in March, months before the bill ever got a real vote, he was out telling reporters that it's about the votes and the math. He said he had to be the clear-eyed realist about what we can and can't achieve here. The majority leader, managing expectations of failure before the fight even started. Look, here's the part that nobody's really considering. The Senate Majority Leader, he has a whip, okay? His name is John Barrasso, and his entire job is to whip up votes. That's the reason he has the title. He counts votes and turns no's into yeses or yeses into no's, depending on what party leadership chooses the direction is. He had over a year on the president's number one priority and didn't move one vote. Actually, went backwards. He started with defectors and ended up with the same defectors. I mean, that's not a math problem. That's leadership that actually never tried. Didn't try to win. But what about Lisa Murkowski? She's another one. Okay. Her excuse is the one that gets the most repetition with the mainstream media. She says the bill federalizes elections and it hurts rural voters, those that don't have easy access to ID. Now, if you use her logic for a second and test it out, well, you'd find that it's not really, it's true, but it's not something that can't be overcame, right? If the real danger is rural voters getting locked out, then there's an obvious fix. You write a longer implementation window. You fund mobile ID clinics. You build a provisional ballot for the first cycle so people can catch up on the paperwork. And none of that requires just killing the bill. It just requires actually negotiating instead of just saying no. Now, to be fair, her underlying concern is real. Like I said, some people do have some challenges. I mean, the Brennan Center says 21.3 million Americans don't have quick access to birth certificates or passports. And I'm not going to sit here and say that that number is real or fake because I have no clue. But the real test has just been done. It was done in Utah. They ran one of the most complete citizenship audits of any state in the country. Now, they had over 2 million registered voters that were checked. Actually, 2,069,000. Out of all of them, 27 were confirmed non-citizens. Other 25 were flagged as probable and given 30 days to prove their status. About 5,000 more couldn't be confirmed either way, and they're still working through the process of sorting. Now, if you run the numbers, that's a little over 1 in 100,000 confirmed. And not one of those 27 were shown to have actually cast a ballot. Not one vote changed by a non-citizen. And that's in the most thorough state review in the country. So look, at the real world cost of this is a documentation problem for a small number of citizens, but the real world benefit is closing a door that barely gets used by that 59% of the country that wants it closed anyway. Well, this government runs by the will of the people. And that's not a reason to kill the bill. It's a reason to fix the rollout. Give people some more time. Fund the ID access. But Murkowski never once put that fix on the table. She used the same objection for over a year as some permanent stamp of no. She didn't provide a specific problem that she's willing to even attempt to solve. And that's her job as a senator. Look, I've worked in the nuclear power industry for 23 years. I'm a certified project manager, PMP. I've managed some pretty complex problems for a living, and I'll tell you exactly how you roll out a change like this without losing a single legitimate voter. You phase it. You pilot in a handful of counties first. You build into this process a grace period so nobody gets removed from the rolls without multiple notices and a real deadline. You fund the state offices that process these documents so there's no backlog. And none of that is complicated. It's actually common sense. It's the same discipline the government is supposed to use on every rollout. And Congress has had over a year to write exactly that plan into the bill. They didn't do it because writing it means fixing something and admitting the objection was fixable in the first place. And that's a fight these senators never wanted to win anyway. Here's what I actually think happened. And I know this because, again, been on the inside of this. A cloture vote is the easiest political cover that they have. It's not a floor vote on the bill itself. Nobody has to stand up and vote on live TV. There's no cameras, nothing to track. They get to vote no on a procedural motion to kill the bill quietly, and then they can go to their hometown news and call it theater like they had nothing to do with it. And compare that to the House. Every single member who voted on this in February had to cast a real recorded vote. Okay? And their names were attached to it, and they will be forever. 218 people did that. In the same Senate, 4 people who got to kill the same bill without ever having to decide or be the deciding no on a final passage got the opportunity to never even have their identity. I mean, we know this because of insiders of the party. Okay? Their peers. That's the whole trick. You don't beat a popular bill in public. You strangle it in some backdoor procedural vote where nobody's watching. and then go home and talk shit about it like you weren't the one holding the knife, because 59% of the American public wants this. It's not principle. It's covering your ass and calling it courage. Folks, these four didn't kill this bill because of Murkowski's rural ID concern. If that were the real objection, there's a version of this bill that fixes it and still passes. They killed it because being the deciding yes vote means owning it forever, and being a quiet no on a procedural motion means they never have to have their identity revealed. It's easier to protect their own seats than it is to give the president and 59% of the people in this country what they want. You don't get the credit for principle when all you're protecting is yourself. Now, here's why this matters as we head into November, because this isn't just about Trump's fight for some abstract Washington argument. 59% of the country, across party lines, wants proof of citizenship. That's not a bad issue that's relegated to one party. It's kind of like a landslide issue. And 4 Republicans just told that majority that their vote on this doesn't count as much as a press conference that they can have with their newspapers back home. And if Republicans want credit in November for standing on election integrity and helping the president, who has an agenda that we voted for, get over the finish line, they can't kill the one bill that would have actually delivered on one of his promises, his most important one. You don't get to campaign on a promise and personally vote to bury it. Now, here's where I think this leaves us. I think it's dead. I really do, and I hate saying that. And it's dead because of these 4 who decided the easiest vote was the quiet one. They needed an alibi. Now they have it. And it sucks. But November's going to be tough anyway. They just made it a lot harder. So here's what I want from you folks. Number 1, should Tillis get to call his own party's bill theater when he's one of the 4 votes that killed it? Number 2, if 59% of the country wants it passed, whose interest is Lisa Murkowski actually protecting? Her voters or her own next election? Number 3, does Trump go around these 4 now, or does he go after their seats? I'd like to hear your opinion, so give me everything you got in the comments. Again, the fight isn't over. The Senate's going to take another run at this, hopefully in the next few weeks. And I'll be tracking it, okay? Because we need to know who moves and who doesn't. So stay subscribed, because the next update on this one is coming, and you're not going to want to miss who's still standing in the way.